Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Citizen Business Center, where tonight we're talking about personal finance. As we were saying with Michael earlier on, a lot of people struggle to kind of stay on the straight and narrow, understand how to lay out their own budget. In studio, we welcome Waceke Nduati Omanga. She's the founder and director of Centonomy Limited, where she's also the lead trainer. She's driven by her passion for teaching people how to create wealth and manage money to achieve financial freedom, and she was nominated among the top 50 women entrepreneurs in November 2007 by Business Daily. Welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you, Janet. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Personal finance. I'm sure so many people come to you, Waceke, help me. I need to figure out a budget. I need to figure out the way forward. What is comprehensive financial planning? How would you describe it?
Well, I think there are a couple of things to understand what financial planning is. One, and very simply, it's telling your money where to go as opposed to wondering where it went. That is the plan. The same way you get into your car and you know, I'm driving my car from here to town to get to work, rather than getting in a car and wandering aimlessly. So it's really a roadmap to help you achieve your financial objectives, whether that's taking kids to school, whether it's going on a holiday, whether it's buying a car, whether it's retirement planning.
Why do you think people struggle so much with it?
Because first of all, I think people think you have to have a lot of money to do financial planning, when whether you have 1,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings or 1,000,000 shillings, you can create a financial plan. Because if you don't start with the small, the habits catch up with you later. So that's one of the things. And then we get stuck in our spending habits, Janet. So people are earning money and they get used to earning and money coming every month. And since it comes every month, they're like, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month, and they just procrastinate about it.
I think I'm a bit guilty of that, to be honest. How does someone start the financial planning process?
Once it's understanding what are you spending. So the first step is, one, understand who you are. And the best way to do that is understand where your money is going. And in our Centonomy classes, where we teach people about money, we always tell them, don't even bother about the budget first, because budget always these people, they're like, oh, it's going to restrict me.
It's a bad word.
It's a bad word. So just start recording. Every day, what are you spending money on? Airtime, transport, fuel, entertainment. And over the course of a week or a month, start analyzing and ask yourself, are you happy with how you are spending? So first, it's knowing where your money is going. Secondly, it's saying, what do I want? That's another thing people have a issue with actually defining. What do you want to achieve this year? So that next year is not another New Year resolution and we didn't achieve anything.
You raised an interesting point. I think it's about going back first and establishing your goals, and then trying to match your finances with those goals. When is a good time to start? I mean, I think you've talked a lot about the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, this education should start very early on. What are your thoughts on that?
As early as possible. I mean, we've even gone and we're starting to teach teenagers about money, because we believe as early as possible. If you can save 150 shillings a day, that's about 55,000 shillings a year. Just 150 bob a day. So as early as possible, and then you have the benefit of time. But that's an interesting, because a lot of people who are like, no, I'm 35, I'm 40, I'm 45, is it too late? The best place to start is today. So if you didn't do it yesterday or you didn't do it 10 years ago, start now.
That's encouraging, I think, for a lot of people. How does one determine short-term, mid-term, and long-term personal financial goals?
Look at what is happening in your life that you need to plan for. One thing I always tell people, school fees is not a surprise. We're in Easter. Easter is not a surprise, and neither will Christmas be a surprise.
And yet it catches people off guard.
It catches people off guard already. Someone just outside was telling me, I want to go on holiday, my wife wants us to go on holiday, and you haven't planned the money. So it's just saying, in this year, short term is usually in the 1 year, what do you want to achieve? So it could be school fees, it could be I want to go for holiday at the end of the year, or I want to make a certain investment. Then mid-term and longer term is the things you want to see in the future. Maybe you want to buy a house in the future in 3 years, in a car in 2 years. Long term is 10 years. Where do you see yourself? 5 to 10 years. Maybe some people need to start thinking about, how do I plan for retirement? What is going to sustain my life when I am not actually working? So they would need to have invested in things that generate income. So for your short-term needs, you're looking at places that are safe. So put money where if it's school fees, don't go and put it in the stock market. Put money where it is safe. For your medium and long-term, you're able to look at places that will grow the value of your money over time.
But either way, establish all those goals as early as possible.
As early as possible, and write them down. And so that you don't get, so that you can become practical, even just get one win. Because sometimes people write down the goals, but if they've never done anything, the 10-year retirement plan just looks too hard to achieve. But start with the short term. What's your 3-year? What's your 3-year goal? Do you want to have reached a certain level of investments in 3 years or even 3 months? Get there first, and then you actually start understanding you can actually do it.
All right, before we go to some questions from the public, there's another question here. Many surveys have shown that the majority of Kenyan youth spend on electronic gadgets and live flashy lifestyles. And in August 2015, Alexander Forbes released a survey showing that 4 out of every 10 Kenyans will not be able to afford to retire, and 5% of Kenyans are expected to be financially independent in retirement. Is this your opinion?
Yes, and we've noticed it even when we're teaching. And the youth, because that's what they're going into, but not just them, we have a consumer lifestyle and an image-driven lifestyle, but it's to understand, and that's why goals that are bigger than the latest phone are important. So the biggest goal in your life cannot be the latest car or the latest phone. So start and understand, what do you want? Because the phone companies are never going to run out of models to replace. So even though you have the latest today, tomorrow it will not be the latest. So, but yes, I do agree with it. We do have a consumption lifestyle, and people are spending their earning abilities buying things that make them poorer. Cars depreciate in value, phones depreciate in value, versus true investments, shares, property, treasury bonds,
for the long term,
that when they do retire and are not earning a monthly income, can sustain their lifestyle. So they are actually building up a lifestyle that they cannot sustain. We've even called it speeding down the highway of poverty in a luxury vehicle. Because when you don't have the salary, what's going to afford that car? But we do have a problem, and I think the resolve is actually people starting to understand, what do I truly value?
Let's now go to some questions that came in. Johnston Kibet from Nakuru. He says, hi Waceke, I come from a family of 7. I grew up in a middle-class home and had the best education that my parents could afford. We lived modestly and could afford to go on holiday once a year. My parents retired 3 years ago, and now they are completely dependent on us. I suppose he means his family, his wife. He's noticed any erratic spending by either of them. So he's noticed that they've been spending erratically, and he knows they both received good pensions after retirement. So he's asking, where could they have gone wrong? And how does he plan for his retirement?
Okay, so I guess where they went wrong is not understand. Your pension fund is never going to be enough for your retirement. And just to give you an example, if you are spending, say, the equivalent of 100,000 shillings per month today, in 10 years you will need 400,000 shillings for the same life of 100,000 shillings. So even as you're planning for retirement, you've got to plan for the bigger number. So what probably happened to his parents, they thought, we're working, we're fine, we have a good life, we will receive a pension. But at the rate of inflation, that pension probably did not last very long, and now they have to rely on him.
What can they do at that age, in that situation, still with their pension? How would you advise them to try and turn that around and manage their finances?
It's starting to look for ways of generating income. Just because you have retired from what used to be your everyday job does not mean you are brain dead. So it's really, what can I do? I still have a gift, I still have experience. What can I actually do with what I have? You may find they even have a property here or there. Sometimes people have to make hard decisions, like, if we did not invest, do we move out of the house we bought, rent it out? Maybe we're living in a big house, the kids have gone, rent it out and use that income to sustain ourselves. So what the parents really have to look for is, how do we get income, and if they still do need to rely on him, to give him something he can plan with, a consistent amount.
So it's not erratic.
So we will need 30,000 from you every month.
So 2 more questions before we get your do's and don'ts. We have Akoth Odiambo, and I think this is something I asked before the break. And Akoth says, hi Citizen Business Center, I have a 13-year-old son who gets an allowance of 2,000 shillings every week. He's an A student, and I do not feel as though this is too much. However, once my friends knew about this, they told me that I'm spoiling him, and it is wrong to reward children with money. What is your take?
It's about children understanding value. So I'm not going to argue on the amount. Does he understand the value of 2,000 shillings, and has he understood what he had to do or get done to get 2,000 shillings, or is it becoming an entitlement? Because if he's getting entitled at this young age, the entitled mentality will carry on until he's 50 years old. So whatever the amount is, does the child understand the value of 2,000, or is it going to be an entitlement? I have 2,000. Fact is, 2,000 shillings a week for a 13th-year-old, they can do whatever they want with the 2,000. So she just has to ask herself, is he working for it? What is he consciously doing for it, so that he understands the value of 2,000 shillings? Yeah.
Okay, and then we have... hi, Janet, I'm Joanne. I'm 21. I'm still in university. My biggest problem is saving.
Yeah.
I think she's echoing many others.
Yeah.
I have attempted to save money numerous times, but I always end up withdrawing it and using it for things that come up. Please, Waceke, don't tell me that discipline is the answer. I have tried it.
Yeah.
I'd like to visit Dubai next year. She doesn't end there. And I need a saving solution to help me achieve my goal.
Okay. It's practicality is the answer, and I also faced this. Don't save in the account that you have access to. Save somewhere where it is a tad bit difficult for you to access the account. Because saving is simple. I get this amount of money. Saving is deciding I'm going to put a certain amount aside. Where you put it aside sometimes is the answer between whether it works or not. So I'd ask her, go look for the kind of products or the accounts that they don't have a ATM. So there she's saying withdrawal, she probably has access to M-Pesa, ATM and a checkbook. That's not a savings account. So look for something that to actually withdraw the money, it requires you to think, it requires you to travel far, it requires you to have filled some documentation.
It's such a process.
It's such a process that it's not, you're not subject to impulse buying.
That's a good one. Finally, because we need to wind up, your biggest do and your biggest don't when it comes to personal finance.
The biggest mistake people make is spending their working lives building other people's factories. And this is what I mean. When you earn money and it all goes to the bar, the salon, the car, the mechanic, etc., you could be living a fantastic lifestyle, but at the end of the day you're going to realize you paid everybody else. So what people must say is, how do I build my factory? So my factory can be my savings, my investments, my business, my plots, whatever. So a portion of what you are working so hard for should go into building your factory. Next thing, have a relationship with your money. So understand where it is going, understand where you are spending money that you're wasting money that can be used for other things, and always take time every now and then to have a meeting with yourself about money. Decide every month I'm going to sit and look at my financial status, my debts, my investments, my spending, and decide what is the change I'm going to implement for the other month. End of the next month again. Just like you get work reviews at work, do a monthly review about your money.
Good point. Waceke Nduati Omanga, founder and director of Centonomy Limited. Thank you as always for spewing lots of wisdom, and we hope to have you back here again very soon.
I look forward to that, Janet.
All right, thank you so much. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.